What if I told you that you can create as many AI agents or AI automations you want without paying for the APIs or the platforms? Plus, all your data is confidential with you and is not shared with any third-party apps. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, with open source platforms like N8N and open source LLMs like Ollama, you can actually achieve this. The logic is simple. You run it all on your own server so that you don't have to pay the platforms or the APIs, plus everything is confidential because it is with you. Now you would think that, okay, that makes sense, but in order to run it on my own server, will I have to get those expensive CPUs, GPUs? Will I have to upgrade my setup or anything like that? Well, the good news is, no, you don't. The other question you might have is, do I have to be technical enough to set this up? Well, no again. Surprisingly, this is very easy and any non-technical person can easily set it up. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can self-host your entire AI agent tech stack, starting from N8N, moving on to Ollama for the LLM, and then using Postgres for memory as well as the database. And the system is going to be quite flexible to use, which means that different users living at different locations will be easily able to access this system, and it won't be just restricted to one person. I'm going to make it extremely easy for you to follow it step by step. All you have to do is watch this video till the very end. Now, this setup is not going to be at $0. You'll still have to pay a little bit for it, but that's going to come at a fraction of the fraction cost that you would generally pay for a setup like this if you weren't self-hosting it. Speaking in dollars, you're going to be spending less than $7 a month on this, and speaking in rupees, you're going to be spending less than 600 rupees a month on this setup. And just to be honest, one generally spends more than this just on the LLM models. So you can think of how affordable it is. Alright, so now that everything is clear, let's go ahead and set up this system. Alright, so the goal for this video is going to be to build an AI agent by the end of the video, and the condition would be that everything should run on our end, which means it should run on our server or on our machine. And yes, it's not limited to just one AI agent. You can create as many AI agents or AI automations or workflows as you want. Talking about the tech stack, so we're going to be using N8N, which is a no-code AI agent / AI workflow builder, which is going to allow you to create the AI agent without writing a single line of code. It is completely visual. It has 400 plus integrations. You can connect it to any app. And again, it's open source. That's why we're going with it. The second is going to be Ollama, which is going to be our LLM. So for the AI agent, we're going to need AI intelligence, right? So that's where Ollama steps in. So it's open source and it's free, which means you can use the LLM's intelligence without paying for the tokens. And a cherry on the top is that Ollama also gives you access to Meta's Llama LLM model. The third one on the list is going to be Postgres. So this is going to act as a backend database for us, which is also going to be to store our N8N workflows and stuff like that. And apart from that, it's going to also act as a memory holder for our AI agent. The next one on the list is Coolify, which is going to add to the easiness of the deployment, which means that even if you're a non-technical person, if you have no idea about how these things work, you will still be able to set it up just by clicking a few buttons. And yes, this is a one-time setup. You just have to spend your energy once and then you can keep on using it. Now, before we jump in, a quick introduction about myself. So hello everybody, my name is Yashica Jain. I am the founder of Automates AI, which is an AI automation agency that focuses on automating businesses using AI. In simpler words, we first understand a business's processes. After that, we identify which AI solutions are going to make the most sense in their case. And after that, we go ahead and implement those. We take care of building and deploying it end to end, and then we also take care of maintaining it for them moving forward. So if you're looking to automate your business using AI, or if you're looking to get your custom AI dream project implemented, then don't forget to check out the link to our website in the description below. Apart from that, I'm also an AI consultant. So if you'd like to get on a one-on-one call with me, then you can check out the link to my calendar in the description below. And as you already know, I run my own YouTube channel for educating people on AI and its implementations. So if you're interested for more such content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Do press the bell icon to get the notification every time I post a video. If you'd like to connect with me personally, send me a connection request on LinkedIn. I'll put the link to my account in the description. And yes, this video has been sponsored by Hostinger. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now we can continue with the video. The next question, why are we even self-hosting it? Why can't you just skip this video, just create accounts with these platforms, pay them and use them? So the majority of people are going to go with this for two reasons mainly. The first is cost savings. You don't have to pay for APIs. You don't have to pay for those expensive platforms for automation, for AI agents. Secondly, privacy and data control. If you're trying to keep your data confidential, if you don't want anyone else to access your conversations, then this is the way to go about it. The third reason is that it's publicly accessible, which I'm also going to explain on the next slide. Apart from that, you're going to learn a little bit of DevOps skill throughout this process, and that too towards the AI technology. Next up, you have full customization. You can do whatever you want because everything is literally on your own server. Now, even when we talk about hosting things on our own server, there are two different categories to it. The first one is through a VPS and the second one is locally. VPS stands for Virtual Private Server and local is nothing else but your laptop or your PC. And in this case, we're going to go with a VPS. You're going to know why just in a moment. But the majority of videos that you're going to find online are going to be leaning towards local, which means everything on your own machine, which is not something I personally prefer, and that is again a reason why I created this video. So yeah, let's see the difference between the two because you should know what you're doing. The end results for both of these are going to be the same, but the features and the benefits and the pros and the cons are going to be different for both of them. So if you self-host it via a VPS, everything would be accessible from anywhere. Which means one team member could be from the US, the other team member could be, let's say, from Australia, and they would still be able to access N8N, they would still be able to access Olama, or you can say Postgres. But in case of local, only the person who is, hosting it on their machine can access it. The other thing is that the VPS runs 24/7, which means it's always online. But in case of local, it just shuts down when your laptop shuts down. So let's suppose that your AI agent or your automation has to run every single morning at 9 a.m. In that case, you'll have to make sure your laptop is running if you want your AI agent to run. And not just your laptop, your server should also be running. But in case of a VPS, you don't have to worry. It's kind of just like the cloud. So even if you're sleeping, things are still going to work on the back end. And since a VPS is accessible from anywhere, it facilitates team collaborations, whereas in case of local, it is just single user. The other major point because of which I lean towards the VPS is that no laptop resource usage, which means it's not going to take space out of your system, it's not going to drain its battery, it's not going to cause performance issues, nothing like that. Even if you have a basic laptop, a basic PC, it's still going to work because it is not dependent on your machine. While in case of local, it drains your battery, your CPU, and there are performance issues and stuff like that. In case of VPS, you can have professional URLs, but in case of local, you just have the local host. VPS is actually enterprise level, as I said, they're client-ready deployments, but local is more for demo purposes, testing purposes, or learning purposes. So long-term, VPS is a better option. And the other point which I haven't mentioned here, but it's still on the back of my mind, is that in case of local, you have to actually install certain platforms, you have to run certain commands and do it. It's a little bit technical, but in case of VPS, it should be quite straightforward if you watch someone who has done it before. So now let's go ahead and set up our VPS, which is nothing else but a virtual private server, which is again your server, but it is virtually present. In simpler terms, you're just renting it out from someone. Now, out of all the different VPSs that I could choose from, I'm going to choose Hostinger's VPS because I've been using it for such a long time. Their performance, value for money, and support are the things that makes it stand out as compared to the other ones in the market. Their VPS plans are very affordable. You can go ahead and compare it. And the timing couldn't be better because they're running their New Year's sale right now. And this is the best time to turn your one day into day one. Look, New Year's is all about making big moves, right? Maybe working on that one project you're extremely passionate about, maybe shifting your career or making your very first automation so that you can start selling it to businesses, or even deploying your first real AI application. And with Hostinger's VPS, you get the freedom and the performance to stop planning and start working. As I said in the beginning of the video, it's going to cost you less than $7 a month. And talking about rupees, it's less than 600 rupees a month. They have up to 71% off on their VPS plans, and a cherry on the top, if you go with their 24-month plan, you're gonna get 1 month of free hosting along with 1 free domain for an entire year. So for this tutorial, I'm going to go with the KVM2 plan, which is coming with 2 vCPU cores, 8GB RAM and 100GB NVMe disk space along with 8 TB of bandwidth. Now, it's not that this VPS is just limited to what we are going to do today and you're just buying it for this thing. No, that's not the case. You can add more and more open source platforms or services that you would like to use on the same VPS. The only condition is that the usage should not exceed this. Alright, so you'll find the link to this page in the description below. Don't forget to use that link. Once you land there, simply scroll down, head over to KVM2 and click on Choose Plan. Alright, so now we have to select the period for how long you'd like to have this VPS. So I would recommend you go with 24 months because I already said you're gonna get 1 additional month for free along with 1 domain for free for an entire year. Plus there are extra savings if you go with 24 months. Then if you want daily auto backup, you can go with this extension. Next up, we have to select the server location. In most cases, it's going to automatically fetch it for you. If not, you can just look into this list and find the one and select the one which is the closest to you. Next up, we have to select the operating system. So you can simply go with Ubuntu, and for the version, just select the latest stable, which is LTS, and click on confirm. Next up, you will be able to see your order summary here. As you can see, for the 24-month plan, I have my domain name for free, and on top of that, I also have 1 extra month, and we also have domain privacy protection. Now, though we've already saved a lot of money, we're not gonna stop here. Since you're watching my video, you can use the coupon code Yashica15 to get flat 15% off on your cart value. There you go, discount applied. And mind you, this cost is for 2 years plus 1 free additional month. And if you compare it with the non-self-hosted version, you would exhaust this money just in a couple of months. Now, just in case you're going with 12 months, you can use the coupon code Yashica to get a flat 10% off on your cart value. But yes, if you go with 12 months, you're not going to get that additional free month. So you're going to find the link to Hostinger along with the coupon codes in the description, and my recommendation is that please don't miss out on this sale. Let's turn your 1 day into day 1. Just click on continue, complete your purchase, and now let me show you how you can go ahead and set up this VPS and then self-host those platforms so that we can create our AI agent. So once the purchase is successful, it's going to ask you to create a root password for your VPS, which is nothing else but a password that you would need to access your VPS. Alright? So now all you have to do is just simply create a password and store it somewhere. Then simply click on next and next. Then it's going to ask you to wait for about 5 to 7 minutes while it, sets up your VPS. So you can wait till that time. Once that is done, all you have to click on is Manage VPS, and now let me show you how the rest of the process is done. So after your purchase is done, all you have to do is head over to VPS, then simply click on Manage, and there you will see that it is running. Next up, you have to head over to OS and Panel and then select Operating System. After that, here search for Coolify. Okay, so if you write cool, it's going to show you. Simply click on this. So as you can see, it's an open source platform that simplifies deployment and management of applications. So once you see this, simply click on Change OS. If it is giving you a warning that just make sure to back up your important data, that's completely okay. Just click on I recognize and then click on Next. Then it's going to ask you to create a new root password. So this is basically going to be to protect your VPS and so that only you can log into your VPS. So just create a new password and make sure to store it somewhere. Make sure you're following these rules and then click on confirm. After that is successful, you will be able to see recreating your VPS. And it's saying it can take up to 10 minutes, but it usually takes about 3 to 5 minutes. And while this is happening, just for your future knowledge, if you ever want to change the operating system in the future, what you can do is, you can always head over to operating system here and you can choose any one of these, okay? So as you can see, you have plain operating systems, you have operating systems with panel, and you also have applications, for example, WordPress. So once your operating system has been changed to Coolify, all you have to do is head over to Overview, and then you should see a screen something like this. Next up, let's click on Manage Panel. Then it's going to ask you to create your Coolify account. So simply fill in your details and then click on Create Account. Alright, so now let's click on Let's Go. Now we have to choose our server type. So in this case, you're going to choose this machine. Alright, so now we have to go ahead and create a project. So simply click on Create My First Project. Then it's going to show Setup Complete, and then simply click on Deploy Your First Resource. Alright, so this is how Qualify looks like, as you can see. And this is basically used to simplify the deployment process. And again, it's open source and free. So you can easily deploy GitHub repositories. You can have your own private or public ones deployed here. You can do Docker-based deployments. Then you can have certain databases and all of these apps that you're seeing on screen. And as I said previously, if you have remaining space on your VPS, you can install other softwares out there as well. And in our case, we are going to go with Docker-based and specifically Docker Compose Empty. So Docker Compose basically lets us deploy multiple services together. For example, in this case, we want N8N, we want Olama, then we also want Postgres. So that is where this comes in handy. So you can think of it this way, it creates different containers for these different services. One container for N8N, one for Olama, so on and so forth. And we can easily interlink and interconnect them. Now, before we go ahead and set these containers up or set these services up, what we'll have to do is we'll have to pre-download their images, which is going to help prevent any deployment errors. So you can also think of downloading installers before you install the actual app. And in order to do that, you have to head back to Hostinger, come over to VPS, select your VPS, and then click on Terminal. Then we have to run these simple commands, which are going to, pre-download, or they're going to download the images for N8N, Postgres, as well as Olama. You're going to find this command in the resources. So anything I copy paste, maybe the commands, the codes, anything, it would be available in the resources. And the link for the same would be in the description. It's going to be free to access, but again, if you want to support the channel, it's up to you. So these are the 3 commands, and they are basically to, get the images, the latest images for all 3, as you can see, Postgres, N8N, and Olama. Once you paste it, all you have to do is hit enter, and it's going to take care of the rest. So as you can see, downloading Olama basically takes 2 GB worth of your space. And this is what adds up to the disk space. And if you still have remaining, you can go ahead and download other ones which are within that limit. So how would you know if it's done or not? So if you see root @ and then a couple of words, basically a string, then it means it has been completed. And again, if you see your cursor where you can type something like this white box, then it means it has been completed. Now we can head back to Qualify. So again, you can either click on Manage Panel, or you can head back to your other tab and then go to your project, My First Project, click on Add Resource, and then simply select Docker Compose Empty. Now this is where it's going to ask for a Docker Compose file. And the Docker Compose file is basically a file that specifies the different services you would like to access and their versions, etc. It also mentions things like passwords, URLs, etc. And all those services are interlinked using Docker networking. So don't worry, I already have this thing ready for you. All you have to do is copy it from the resources. It has been tried and tested. It's working fine. But if you ever want to make any change to the file, maybe add some service, delete one, then what you can do is you can use the help of ChatGPT or Claude to do it, just in case you don't know how to do it. Alright, so here is our Docker Compose file. It's not that big, it's just 46 lines. And this is how it looks like. Again, just copy it and paste it. You should be good. Now, here are a few things that you could change. So if you start from the very top, the first thing are these environmental variables for Postgres. Postgres is basically our backend database. So here you can change the user ID, the password, and the database. Now, I wouldn't recommend changing the user or the DB, the database, but yes, you should change the password. So right now it is just N8N secure pass 123. You can change it to whatever you feel like. This password would be needed later on when we connect Postgres to N8N. So yeah, you can change it, but just make a note of it. Next up, if you scroll down, you'll spot N8N and again a couple of environment variables. For example, DB type, which is Postgres. Then we have some more details around it. Again, we have another password. And then you can also change the time zone for your N8N account. Now, this is not necessarily your N8N password. That is something which we will set up afterwards. But this is your Postgres database password, which is used on the backend of N8N. So again, if you want, you can change this, but just make a note of it. I wouldn't recommend changing anything else. Then if you scroll down, you'll spot Olama. Nothing to change here. And just to summarize, these are the volumes we are going with. So once this is done, all you have to do is click on Save, which is going to bring you to this screen. And here, all you have to do is spot N8N under Services and then click on Settings. Right there, you will spot Domains, which is going to help you assign a URL to your N8N account, which means that every time you go to that URL, you will be able to access your N8N account. So just like you have n8n.io or stuff like that, here you can specify your own domain. Now, if you have a domain of your own which you would like to specify here, you can do that and then do the DNS settings, etc. But in case you don't have a domain like a .com, .io or anything like that, in that case, what you can do is you can use this domain that ends with .sslip.io and then the port name, which is basically a free, domain or DNS service. And this one automatically points to your IP and you don't really have to do any sort of DNS setting, okay? And here, all you have to do is change this part with your IP. Where are you going to get your IP? Head back to Hostinger and this is your IP, these numbers, okay? Not the starting part, but these numbers starting from 72 and it ends at 160. Now, this is my IP, this is not yours. Yours would be different. And then you come back and then you replace it with your IP and the port name remains the same. Don't change this. But yes, if you want, you can change this. For example, right now it is N8N, right? What I can do is I can put Yashica. So N8N-Yashica, okay? But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it as N8N. And then let's simply save this. Next up, all you have to do is click on Deploy. Now, this is going to deploy our entire Docker Compose file, which includes all the 3 platforms. So the way how it works is that Postgres starts first, then N8N connects to it, and then comes Olama. Postgres is going to help us in 2 different ways here. The first is acting as a backend for N8N. For example, let's say you created 5 different workflows and now you restarted the VPS, right? If you again want to see your 5 different workflows and those modules, etc., then you need to have a backend database, right? And apart from that, let's say you are running your automations and you want to check your automation history or executions history. Then again, everything is basically stored on Postgres. And the second reason why we're going to use it is for our AI agent's memory. So if it's a chat agent, it's really important to have memory. For example, you send a first message and then in the second message, you ask it, what was my first message? If it's able to answer it, then that means the memory is configured. And that is not automatically done in an AI agent. You have to set it up. And that is where we're again going to use Postgres, which is again production ready. Alright, so this seems to be completed. So now let's simply close this. And as you can see, it is running. Now, how are you going to access N8N? So all you have to do is copy this domain up until .io, okay? And in your case, if you're using some other domain, it could be .com, .in, whatever. So just copy this. You can leave the colon and the port name. We don't really need that. And in a new tab, simply paste that and hit enter. If everything was set up correctly, you will see the screen that says set up your owner account and you will see N8N's logo. Alright, so now all you have to do is set up your N8N account. So add your email, first name, last name and password and then simply click on next. Make sure to check it so that you get any sort of security and product updates. Then it's going to ask you to fill out a form. Just do that. If not, then just click on get started. Then it's going to ask if it can send you that key, that activation key. So just select send it to me because there is no harm in having it in your inbox. And there you go. N8N has been successfully set up. Easy and quick, right? Now, the first thing you should do is you should bookmark your URL because again, every time you want to access N8N, you have to go to this URL. Now here you will be able to spot the other templates. If you want to see more, you can see more. And this N8N is like any other N8N. If you open this up, you can check your chats, you can check out the templates, insights, help. You can also see settings here. And another good thing is you can easily access N8N's MCP. I have already created a video on N8N MCP in case you're interested. I'm going to link it somewhere above here. Apart from that, you can also access N8N's API. You can access all the other features you usually get with your cloud plan or with, a single self-hosted N8N instance. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and create a workflow here. So there we go. Let's add the first step. So as a part of the trigger, I'm going to select a chat trigger since we want to create a chat agent. Now, my focus wouldn't be on teaching you AI agents and N8N in this video because I've already created tons of videos on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a playlist in the description. Maybe I'll link it above here as well, where you will find videos, for example, N8N's crash course by me. You can find a video which is N8N's tips and tricks you must know, N8N's must know nodes, etc. And even a full video on the AI agent node. So yeah, if you're interested in learning N8N, then you can check it out. All right, so here's the AI agent node. I have added it. Now comes chat model, which is basically adding an LLM to your AI agent. Now it could be OpenAI, Gemini, Anthropic, Azure, DeepSeek, tons of options. But what we're going to go with is Ollama. So before we set this up, you'll have to go back to Coolify. So either you can go through Hostinger, like you can go to Manage Panel, or if you already have the tab open, you can just go back to Coolify. Now here, what you'll have to do is under projects, after selecting your project, you'll have to go to terminal, okay? And then select Ollama as the container, then click on connect. And here you'll have to paste this simple command, which is going to help you download this particular model. So this is a small model llama. Again, it's fast, it's small, like a good one to get started with. And the way this command is written is Ollama pull and then the name of the model, okay? You'll find this command in the resources. After you hit enter, it's going to start downloading that model for you. And then you will be able to access it inside N8N. So just like Llama, they have other models as well that you can access. So if you just search for Ollama models list and head over to the first link, you'll be able to spot the different models that you can work with. For example, we have GPT-OSS, we have DeepSeek, we have these different ones. So right now we're going with Meta's Llama, then you have Mistral, you have a lot of these. So let's say you want to go with this one. So you can just click on it. You will spot this command here. All you have to do is just copy this model's name. And while you write these commands, all you have to do is replace the last part with that model name. And then if you hit enter, it will download it for you and then you can access it. Again, it's going to take space on your VPS, so don't download all of them. Just download the one you actually need. Alright, so now that this is done, we're going to head back to N8N. Then we're going to click on select credential. We're going to create a new one. And here, all you have to do is replace localhost with Ollama. Okay, so it's like the same for everyone. This is how it should look like. You can save this. It is connected. Next up, we have to select the model. So you can either just select it from here or else you can select expression first and then just copy the name of the model you had downloaded so that you don't get any errors and then simply paste it. In this case, it's the same, but yeah, it's just a good practice to use the same model name you download. Then let's click on save. Now, if we send a message to our AI agent, it should be able to reply. So let's click on open chat and let's say hi. And as you can see, it is running Ollama. And there we go. How can I help you today? So let me just do this. Now, if I ask it what was my last message, it shouldn't really be able to tell me that because we haven't connected memory yet. So it's saying your last message was what was my last message, which is wrong because my last message was hi. And it is saying this because it does not have memory and it's just taking this as my first and my last message. And that's where Postgres is going to step in. So under memory, just click on add and then select Postgres chat memory. It's going to ask you to create credentials, so just create new. Now here we'll have to change a couple of things. So the host is going to be Postgres in this case. The database is going to be N8N. Now this is nothing else but the details that we had added inside our Docker compose file. The user is again going to be N8N and the password is again that password that you had entered into your Docker compose file, the one you had copied from the resources. So in case you had changed it, then it's going to be something else. But if you didn't change it, then it was N8N secure password. 1, 2, 3. S capital and P capital. And the rest of it remains the same. Simply click on save and there we go. Successful. Now here you can choose how many past interactions you'd like to save. So let's say 10. I mean, all of them are saved, but how many of these should the model receive as context? Okay. Now let's come out of this. Let's save it. Let's go back to open chat. Let's start a new one. And this time again, let's say hi. And now let me ask it, what was my last message? Now it is saying your last message was hi because it was able to access the memory. Now this is the basic structure of an AI agent. You can obviously go ahead and prompt it. In order to do that, all you have to do is add option, select add option, and then select system message. Here you can write your prompt and the AI agent is going to follow that. Here you can add different tools for the AI agent. All of these that you're seeing on the screen, they're all available as integrations. Just in case you're not seeing any tool you'd like to have, you can always use HTTP, which is making an API request. Now again, I have a detailed video on the AI agent explaining all of these. So if you're interested in this topic, you should give that a watch. Now this thing doesn't stop here. You can create any sort of an automation which might or might not have an AI agent. You can create any sort of AI agent with any trigger, any tool, and any nodes. If you want, you can also head over to templates. And from here, you can choose a template. You can also click on see more templates. And you can choose from 7,754 templates, which is as per today's date. And you can easily use any of them. Just make sure to use Ollama as the chat model and Postgres for the chat memory. If you click on add and you search for Postgres, you will also see it as an integration. Again, you can use any of these nodes out there. Same thing for Ollama. You can search for Ollama and you can also use analyze image or messenger model. We have the connections ready. Just letting you know for your future use cases what all things you can use. So now let's justify the statement I started with. So I said that you can create unlimited AI agents, which is correct. You can head back to overview and you can create as many workflows as you want. The other thing I said is that you don't have to pay for the APIs, basically, chat models API, which is again correct. You can use Ollama, you can change the model to whichever you like. And the other thing I said was you don't have to pay for the platforms like Make or N8N, which is again correct. You can run it as many times as you want and there is no cap on that. Whereas on your actual cloud plan, you would have a cap. And that is how we self-hosted our AI agent 100%. So the goal was to build an AI agent. We did that. And the condition, which was everything should run on our end, was fulfilled. I would highly recommend checking out my other videos on N8N if you want to use this entire system to its maximum capacity. I have some great tutorials of some great automations that can help you for, let's say, your social media, for your everyday operations, to help you automate a lot of things. And again, the cost is less than $7 a month, or you can say 600 rupees a month. And also you can add team members to it. You can invite them, you can share the link, etc. with them, and you should be good to go. And this is a long-term thing and it's production ready. So I hope this video was valuable. You were able to learn something new and build something new. If that was the case, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and do press the bell icon to get a notification every time I post a video. And yes, I love going through the comments section, so do drop your honest feedback in the comments below. And if there's anything else you would want me to cover in my future videos, then again, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn, do send me a connection request there, and also follow me on X. You'll find the link to both the platforms in the description. And as I said, anything that I've copy-pasted throughout the video, maybe any code, maybe any command, you will find it in the resources linked in the description below. It's going to be free to access, but if you want to support the channel, then that's up to you. You'll find the link to hosting us VPS in the description along with the coupon codes. And yes, don't miss out on the New Year's sale. If you're thinking of doing this sometime later, then do it today because they're giving you great offers and great deals. Alright, so I'm going to wrap up here. I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, bye.